what is Egypt hiding? I continue on with what I was discussing in part 11. Now, when you look at this consonants and the words that they therefore produce, in regard to the parallels between the name of Yosef, okay, which is derived from the Hebrew word Yasep, which means to increase or to add, all right? You will find that in ancient Egyptian, that then translates to the concept of Hisabati, which is the idea of calculating, to scheme, or to make a plan. Remember, Joseph was very prolific in creating storages for food because he had already foreseen through a vision, or should I say a dream in the night, that indeed Egypt was going to go through a season of famine. So guess what? He had to come up with ways in which they could store food. Now, and part of that would be also the concept of laying out a scheme, so he'll be able to see how much do people need to collect, how many bags, so that this will be enough for this period. That's the whole concept up there that you see, to make a scheme or a total scheme or a plan, all right? Because you got to calculate how much food in relation to the amount of people, right? Then you have the concept of Hesabiwa, the idea of counting, of course, assessments, also tax dues. And then at the bottom there, you have Ntoa Hesabu. Ntoa Hesabu is like an accountant, all right? Ntoa Hesabu can be an accountant, a mathematician, somebody who gives records of these accounts and keeps them, all right? Remember, Joseph also did that. Now, if you look at the root word, which in Swahili being that to count or to do mathematics is hesabu. You see that? Hesabu. Hebrew is what? Yasap. Not much of a difference. One has a Y, one has a H. Okay? But in Swahili, if you say yasabu, guess what it is? It becomes that which pertains to mathematics. So yasabu and Yusuf, and Yosef, there's really no different. It looks like Joseph himself might have been maybe a mathematical genius, or he was just very good with foresight and planning. All right? So even there is a connection between the Kibantu word in Swahili, hesabu, and the Hebrew word yasap. I hear in Somali, hesab is mathematics. I think in Somali, hesab is mathematics as well. And then you also have the ancient Egyptian word hesabu, which means you can actually derive Joseph's name not only from the Hebrew word, but also the ancient Egyptian word and Kibantu. All right? So I don't understand how this language here is possibly Afro-Asiatic. I don't see that connection at all. We need, again, like I always stress, we need to start opening our eyes, pop, because these people, they lie. And remember that the category of Afro-Asiatic was created by who? The Europeans. They needed to appease the Arab colonizers. They were not only in Egypt, but they were also in other places such as the East African coast. All right? So when they created the category of Afro-Asiatic, then Egypt was put in the same category as ancient Egyptian was put in the same category as Arabic and as Hebrew. Do you see that? Now, I don't understand how, because the same root words that you find in Hebrew, you will find them in Bantu. And ancient Egyptian in itself, I consider it a Congo-Niger language. So it's up to you to just use your common sense. If you can find the same root words in Hebrew and ancient Egyptian and Bantu, is there a genetic connection? Of course. If you look down there in quoting Cheikh Anta Diop's work, of course, which is in the book over here by Fagel Shaman, he says that also in the Wolof language, Hasab is a cubit. All right? They're definitely related. Why? Because the concept of asab has to do with the idea of calculation. A cubit is used to calculate something, a certain kind of height, right? So if anybody asks me, what does the name Yosef mean? I'll simply tell you it means the mathematician, okay? He who calculates, he who keeps accounts, he who keeps records, okay? You've seen that with the ancient Egyptian, you've seen that with Swahili, and you see that with Hebrew. Numbers, numbers, numbers. Now remember also the other person that had encounters with the Most High that had to do with the concept of numbers and increase was who? His grandfather Abraham, right? He was told that his descendants shall increase, and he was asked to go out and look at the stars. When Joseph got the dream or the vision that was then the prophecy that was to be of his greatness in the future, he immediately recognized it. He might have recognized the parallels between the stars that were in his grandfather's dreams and the stars that were in his dreams. So basically the stars and the sun and the moon were going to bow down to him. All right? Now, someone please tell me that the Hebrew language, the ancient Egyptian language, and the Kibantu languages are not connected. Bantu say we migrated out of Egypt and we fled because of the slavery. We were enslaved by the red-skinned people. Israelites also say they were enslaved in Egypt. Okay? So we need to start questioning and asking ourselves, why does this ancient Egyptian have Proto-Bantu words? And why is it called Afro-Asiatic if it's full of so many Proto-Bantu words? I mean, look at my own language and its connection to Hebrew and also ancient Egyptian. We need to start asking questions.